Hello and welcome back to the Give and Go. I'm your co-host Reynoso here with my boy
Soltero. What's up, guys?
Straight from a football match, huh?
Yes, sir. Austin FC against Houston Dynamo, a little Texas rivalry. Just got back from the game, and just a little quick review.
Go for it. How's Austin looking, man? I didn't get to watch the match. How's my local team looking, bro? We looking good?
Yeah. Let me be honest with you, bro. MLS at its worst. The game ends 1-0, so that's the positive side. Austin defeat Houston. It was a nice little corner kick. The ball bobbles in the box, and the one and only Driussi gets on the end of it and puts it home 1-0. But that was it. I mean, Stuver had a couple of good saves.
He had a couple good ones. Ring hit the post.
Yeah.
On a goofy shot.
He did, yeah. None of it was really intentional.
And then Rubio almost had like an insane one from outside the box, floating.
Yeah. But there's like no build-up play whatsoever
Yeah.
in this match. Everything was forced. It was just get it to the wings, send a ball in the box, maybe. And Houston put in the most annoying away performance, and I'm sure all of it was purely intentional. By the way, they started time wasting in the 10th minute, dude. Like the goalkeeper was just super slow to put the ball back into play. Every time the ball went out of bounds, the Houston player just walked to the ball to do a throw in. That's the type of tempo that was set in this match. And just considering how Austin have been playing this season, they're not really ones to try and change that tempo early in the game. So I'd say a good 60, 70 minutes, it was just kind of, a very chippy game for sure. No fluidity from either side. Houston had a lot of the ball. It took Austin 20 minutes to get the ball. 20. That was, again, that was the tempo that was set at the beginning of this match. But as always, the crowd really does energize this team in the last 15, 20 minutes. And on low-key, I think that's why we won this match. I think the crowd won Austin FC
on a
the
Wednesday,
match.
bro?
On a Wednesday, yeah.
Rivalry week presented by Continental Tire. Everyone showed out?
Yes, sir. No, honestly, yes. Everyone actually did show out.
That's
I was
good.
expecting like a lower attendance for a Wednesday night, but no, man. Listos Verde completely showed out,
Beautiful.
bro. And the crowd was immaculate as always. The match itself, pretty low quality.
That's
But hey,
fair.
Austin FC continue their perfect home record against the Houston Dynamo.
That's the thing. I'm not surprised that Houston tried to make it chippy right away because when you really think about it, Austin owns Houston, bro.
Yeah.
They own him, especially at Q2 Stadium. That's
Especially.
now 5 straight victories for them
Yep.
against Houston Dynamo at Q2. This is ownership. This is citizenship of the Houston Dynamo. And
Yeah.
so be it. I love that they won the game. Shout out to the Driussi getting that game winner in the
Shout
86th minute. And, hey, I'm glad you enjoyed your experience, man.
Yeah, it was fun. I was with former coworkers, hoping the game would be a little bit more entertaining. But I don't know, maybe I take them to a Copa America match
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
a little bit higher level for
Yeah.
sure.
While you were dealing with the annoyance of a Houston Dynamo side that was just trying to frustrate Austin FC, I was busy watching Chivas versus América in el Super Clásico Mexicano semi-final matchup once again at the Estadio Akron. Can't believe we got this matchup again, bro. Can't believe how routine it has become, especially at such a big part of the Liga MX season. Truly a gift to not just Chivas and América fans, but to fans of the league in general, because this matchup is just top notch. That red versus yellow matchup always looks so good on paper and on screen. So I got so excited. I got so hyped when I saw that Chivas defeated Toluca and now got set up to play against América, our biggest rivals. And slowly I've been building that classic Reynoso optimism when it comes to Chivas, man, because as we've been building ourselves this season, we've been looking a little bit better and better and better under our new head coach, Gago, the new head coach who came in, bringing in a new attitude into the team, and it's been really exciting to see, specifically El Piojo Alvarado playing his best season, in my opinion, with a Chivas jersey. Just got the call-up from the Mexican national team as well, but then more importantly, our defense playing incredible football so far with now, after today's results, 6 straight clean sheets, and Orozco getting the call-up for the Mexican national team as well. plus our goalkeeper too, Rangel. El Tala Rangel, bro. I was really
Wow.
surprised. So our defense has actually been one of our best traits, one of our best attributes this season. And that's really interesting because that's usually not the case for Chivas, especially going into a matchup against América. And so I was really interested to see how do we perform against a team that, like Austin dominates Houston at the Q2 Stadium, América has low-key dominated Chivas at the Estadio Akron for the past 5 years, you could say, man. They've dog-walked us in our own stadium multiple times. So for me, I was just interested to go into this game to see how do we perform against an América side who's been up and down, especially in La Liguilla, who ultimately didn't win their matches to get there, but went through because they were the higher seed. Mm-hmm. And what I got ultimately ended up being a match where I really wish and I really think we should have won by 1 goal, man.
Yeah.
We should have won by 1 goal. I think we outplayed América. I think América went into this match with a very defensive mindset, looking to just approach on the counter. And they got close on several occasions where they did generate good chances. But overall, this was Chivas' game at home. They had the crowd behind them. They had the confidence. And they created a ton of chances. They just couldn't finish them, man. They just couldn't finish them. And it sucks because although on the positive side, we kept América from scoring and from dog walking us in our own stadium, there is a reality where we have to go back to the Estadio Azteca, where we have performed well, Chivas specifically have performed well, but have to defeat América because they have the higher seed. Yeah. This is a much better situation. I think América has the advantage going into the second leg. And so I'm not going to say we need a miracle, but we need to play really, really well to take down this América side. It's open. It's wide open. The opportunity is there, but I do feel that we missed a big one today.
Yeah, I think if you're a Pachuca fan, you'll probably say very similar things in the sense that you missed a really big opportunity to beat América, because América low-key have not been in great form, not at least in the top tier form that they were mid-season.
That we know them to be, bro.
Exactly. So I didn't see the game, but I could imagine if you had a good game, you dominated portions of it, you probably should try to beat América, knowing that you have to go back to the capital to play them. But that sucks, man. Mm-hmm. Where América, did they craft a lot of chances?
No, not a lot. I would count like 2 notable chances on the counter, bro.
They've been playing weird.
Quinones didn't even start, bro.
Yeah.
They started the Dutchman, man. The Dutch guy. Wings, I don't even know how to say his name, but they started him instead. And
Javito or something like that. Yeah,
dude, they were really interesting in this match. I thought offensively it just looked like a completely different América side.
Dude,
completely, bro.
It was the same against Pachuca. They looked completely non-fluid, and they were just like giving it to Valdez, and he'd try to find somebody on the wing. There was no fluidity to their game, no real rhythm. Quinones was once again on the bench. So I don't know, América are playing very, very strange, low-key giving me choking Monterrey Liguilla vibes, because they were so good in the regular season. Now they're low-key choking it right now, but the quality remains for América, and it might be enough to just get them to a final.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the wake-up call and they show up in El Azteca and they just completely show out and play really well against Chivas. But I'm starting to feel that classic Reynoso optimism start to infiltrate me. I just cannot deny it, bro. I cannot be objective when it comes to El Rebaño Sagrado, bro. I just can't. Somehow I'm having visions, man, like the fucking Lisa Nagaib. I'm having visions of Pavel Perez, of Kate Cow, of Chicharito, of fucking Roberto Alvarado.
Yeah.
Somehow celebrating at the Estadio Azteca and getting a fucking result. So, man, this matchup on Sunday, I believe, is going to be a banger, bro. A banger, a must-watch moment for Liga MX. And I can't wait, but I am going Chivas, my friend.
Speaking of playoff football, let's go to the other side of the world, brother.
Damn, okay.
Yeah, we're going to do a 24-hour trip here. The AFC Champions League final first leg happened this past Saturday, and I need to talk about it, bro, because this was one of the best Asian club football matches that I have seen. What a brilliant football match. And, you know, we talk a lot about finals being very cagey affairs. This was the exact opposite. End to end, both teams just going at each other, and there were some really fluid moments, some beautiful combinations from both sides. And just the moments that happened in this match, I think really elevated this match. And it was in front of what, 60, 70,000 people in Japan.
Man. They finally showed up.
Thank God. And we can talk about that later because my goodness, have they not shown up in the Eastern Zone. But they almost made up for all of the bad matches that have happened this Champions League in the AFC. This one game almost made up for all of the games that have been a little boring this past season in the Champions League.
Commentator mentioned that they hosted the 2002 FIFA World Cup final there, man.
Yeah.
At Yokohama Stadium. So I wasn't aware of that, bro. But you could feel it. It was like the Asian Olympic Stadium, where it's like this massive, massive field, and then the stands are pretty distant, pretty far away, but it just gives this massive just feel of like a bowl feel to the stadium. It's really cool, and it really encapsulated the final atmosphere that we were hoping for.
Dude, it really did. And I think that atmosphere made both teams' players just show out, bro. Let's look at how both teams kind of got to this final, because I think the tactical perspective of this match was so intriguing. Al-Ain have gotten here by beating Al Nassr and Al Hilal, scoring 4 goals and 5 goals against those teams respectively, and they've done it in transition. They absorb a ton of pressure and then they head out. And when you have players like Rahimi, Matias Palacios, Kaku Romero to feed that man, it can be done. And you see those quarterfinal matches, those semifinal matches, Al-Ain were brilliant in transition. But here's what was really cool about Yokohama's approach in this match. They wanted to test that theory. Harry Kuehl, the coach of Yokohama, played 2 attacking midfielders, Nam Tae-hee, the Korean, and Uenaka, who has just hit the scene, behind the Brazilian front 3. That's 5, count them, 5 attacking players to see how much Al-Ain could really absorb. The first 10 minutes, all Yokohama. And it was just insane to see, because Yokohama kind of looked a little shaky against Ulsan Hyundai in the semifinals. I was very curious to see if they were going to go at Al-Ain, who looked brilliant against Al Hilal. Yeah. But oh my God, dude, Yokohama showed up. But here's what's crazy. It was Al-Ain who got the first goal. And who was it? The one and only, the Moroccan on the break, as he has done this entire knockout stage, Rahimi, who gets on the end of a ball, completely outruns the Brazilian defender Eduardo, tries to get a shot off, it gets blocked, but then it was Abbas who hits the rebound home. And Al-Ain take a really surprising 1-0 lead in that moment, only 10 minutes into the match. But Yokohama, they didn't let that frustrate them or change their mindset whatsoever, because they still maintained the majority of the possession for the rest of the half. And dude, they crafted a lot of chances, bro. Yeah. And it was even so much so that it was actually 1-0 going into the half. But dude, Yokohama should have felt so hard done on themselves that they did not equalize by halftime, because they were just sending balls over the top. They were finding Anderson Lopez in pockets of space. Uenaka and Nam Tae-hee had a lot of the ball in the midfield. It was so awesome to see. Jan Mateus was just turning on a dime. Elbert cutting inside. Yokohama looked brilliant. Yeah. What's funny is that I was going for Al-Ain in this match, and I still have them winning the whole thing. Oh. But the way Yokohama were playing, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go Yokohama in this game just to root for them, because they were playing such offensive football, and it was so beautiful to see.
But for how offensive they were, they met the brick wall of Calidesa.
Yeah.
And so that's why I couldn't turn like you did. I couldn't turn, because that to me, that man has symbolized just a great goalkeeper in the AFC region. And Rahimi specifically, man, watching him in that first half and how he scored that goal and how he generated that opportunity, he's literally AFC Mbappe.
Dude, yes.
Dude.
Yes.
Just like full pace. Mm-hmm. And then his finishing ability is there. He got a good shot on goal. It was a better save in my opinion. Yeah. The rebound comes up and he scores and he finishes it. But the threat that Rahimi poses, it feels the same when I watch him chasing a ball when he's on it as when I watch Mbappe in the Champions League as well. It's actually kind of cool to see. It's just in different regions, so it's a different quality of level. But that really stood out to me when watching Rahimi in that specific game, because it was really cool to see just how he utilizes his best traits to completely neutralize that Yokohama defense to get that goal. But beyond that, Calidesa was incredible in that first half. I want to make sure we give him credit, because he is the reason for why Al-Ain had a clean sheet at halftime. But unfortunately, he couldn't sustain that for the second half.
No, dude. And Yokohama were flirting with that equalizer. They really were. The first 20 minutes of the second half, though, they kind of let off a little bit, but Harry Kuehl made a couple of changes, and those changes have proved to be very, very effective. It reinvigorated this Yokohama team, and they're able to get back on the score sheet, tied at 1-1 through my boy Uenaka. A beautiful ball from Jan Mateus finds the Japanese player, who puts it home very beautifully off a header. And I want to take this time to really highlight Uenaka right now, because he had a really good goal in the semifinal. A year ago, he was playing in J2.
Damn.
Now, a year later, he is in the AFC Champions League final, popping off in the knockout stages. He shows up for his team here in the final at home in Japan. I think this guy has a bright future. I believe he just turned 22 years old. If he keeps going on this trajectory that he is on, I could see him playing in the Bundesliga for sure. He's got the skill. He's very comfortable on the ball. Always look for nice short little passes, but he's not afraid to go for goal. He scored a banger in the semifinals. He gets a really good header here in the final. My boy Uenaka is playing top tier football right now.
Anything to say about Mateus? 2 assists in this game.
Mateus,
showing
man.
out, man. And
Dude.
he sent that beautiful floated ball to Anaka to get the goal.
Yeah, Mateus is a really interesting player because he tries a lot. And a lot of the times he fails. Like whether it's a dribble or a really ambitious pass, a lot of the times it never works out. But since he just has so much tries, so much attempts, he does some really good stuff. And he does have the skill set to be effective. It's he's honestly like the winger version of Anderson Lopez. Like Anderson Lopez gets a lot of chances. That's why he's ultimately a good goal scorer, but he's just ultimately not that clinical. And I think that's why Yokohama didn't get a goal in that first half, because ultimately I think the front three just are not clinical, at least not as clinical as our boy Rahimi for sure. Yeah. But they showed up in that second half. As you said, Jan Mateus finally found his form, getting those 2 assists. But yeah, man, Yokohama ultimately flip it and win the game 2-1.
Yeah, they flip it completely, and credit to them. That second goal was a bit wonky with a finish with a fucking knee, man.
Yeah.
Finish with his knee, with the ball just kind of ricocheting to him, getting to the back of the net. I thought it really represented just how sports can be a game of inches, because before Yokohama tied it, Al-Ain nearly went up 2-0 on a very, very tight. He was offside, but very, very tight offside call by just an inch. Whereas the Yokohama forward was counted onside for his second goal. That was also very tight, but rightfully called. So really a game of inches. This could have shifted completely, but Yokohama's game plan ultimately worked out, and they end up pulling off a 2-1 come from behind result at home in the first leg. And I just can't take away credit from them for that, because that is an incredible achievement given the context of how they got to that stage.
Yeah, I was so impressed with their performance, genuinely. I didn't think they had it in them to play this well, honestly. I knew they had good players. They deserve to be in this final, by the way. I'm not saying that. But just the way that Al-Ain had been playing and the way Yokohama had been playing, I just didn't know they had this in them, because offensively they were so creative, and thankfully they were able to show for it by getting 2 very massive goals. They now take that lead, and they're going to go to the UAE for the second leg. And honestly, I expect the second leg to be just as exciting. And Harry Kuehl has to start the same 11. If he tries against defensive with it, I just think Al-Ain are going to get a goal. And if Yokohama don't have their best offensive players out there, they're not going to be able to respond. So Harry Kuehl, do not change your offensive scheme. Do what you can. Get more goals. Al-Ain have been leaking goals all knockout stage. Keep attacking them.
I don't think realistically thinking, I could see him approaching the game and low-key parking it.
Oh, absolutely.
I can see him doing that, because that's what we usually end up seeing in these situations.
This always happens.
Away from home.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I think, if I'm being real with you, I think that's what's going to end up being the strategy from his point of view. And I agree, it'll be the wrong one. To sit back and allow this Al-Ain attack to go out you with that vigor, with that violence that they have at their own stadium, it's a very dangerous thing to do. I agree. They have to go full on, full throttle, attack them the same way they did, and make it a shootout, honestly, because they can't score goals.
Yeah, I completely agree. Make it a shootout. Also, just fun fact, Ange Postecoglou coached Yokohama.
Really?
Like 3 years ago.
Oh, pretty recently.
Yeah, he won the J League with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I knew he won in Japan. I never knew it was Yokohama.
Yeah, I
had no
I
idea.
just found that out because Harry Kuehl is also Australian, so
Wow.
he's like another Australian coach. For
Yeah.
them. But yeah, I'll be very curious to see his approach in this second leg. And for Hernan Crespo's side, I think it's just do what you do. Absorb pressure. Let Yokohama have the ball, even if they have a defensive scheme, and head out on the break. Be a little bit more aggressive because I thought they were a little shy in this game. I can understand that being on the road, but be more aggressive. Really utilize Rahimi and just go out. This is a final, man.
Yeah.
I think the players will understand that, especially since they're at home. They're going to have that advantage in this second leg. I don't think they're going to shy away from this opportunity, and they're going to try to bring back the AFC Champions League trophy for the first time in 20 years.
Damn, dude. 2 decades?
2 decades.
I will say, I'm interested to see, because I actually have no idea about his status report. Where's Eric Jorgens?
Dude, I know.
Where is he at, bro?
He went off injured, remember, in the second leg
Is
of the
that
semifinal?
what this is from?
I guess, and I'm pissed because I thought he'd have enough time to recover, man. And yeah, if you don't have Jurgens is like basically a secondary winger,
He's
man.
like Draymond Green. You know? Like it's like the cog engine, the centerpiece of this Al-Ain side.
Yeah.
A fullback that is not afraid to go up and be basically a second winger.
Yeah.
An incredible Brazilian player, and he was gone in that first match. And that is something I wanted to say.
Yes.
Obviously, credit to Yokohama, but I do think the absence of Eric Jurgens was notable because against those Saudi teams, the reason they were able to take down those Saudi giants was because of guys like Eddie Jorgens and the way that he completely outclassed other teams' fullbacks and just had that IQ, had that finishing ability as well. Drew penalties. My God, this guy did everything
He did
offensively.
everything, man.
And he just wasn't there for this game.
I know.
So I want to see where he's at. Luckily, the next game is still a while away. I think it's like 10 days still away. So there is time to recover. I just have no idea what his status is.
I have no idea. You know what's really frustrating about AFC club statuses is that there's almost no reports. I look, bro. I look because there's players who are just always missing, and I'm like, okay, where is he? And I look, and the most recent article on them is like 8 months ago.
Well, that's because of gambling. The NBA has minute-to-minute injury updates because of all the fantasy gambling, the daily fantasy, all that bullshit. Who's gambling on Asian football in the U.S.?
I would.
Realistically.
Let me reach out. If I can get
They would give you that info.
day-to-day status reports, bro,
They
I'll
would give you
gamble.
that
I'll
info,
give them
bro.
all my money, bro. I swear.
I really think he improves the chances of Al-Ain winning if he's playing, and I hope to see him on the pitch.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I don't think this is an exaggeration. For me, he's been the best fullback in the entire AFC region. And I'll say his counterpart up top, Rahimi, has been the best forward in the AFC region. Al-Ain have an incredible team. Their midfield is, so well drilled. They have such a good plan when they play against anybody. That's why I really trust them to ultimately flip this tie and lift it. I know Yokohama put in a really good performance. I hope they play the same way, but I'm going to go with Al-Ain lifting the trophy.
I'm with you. I'm going Al-Ain. Hey, it's crazy we live in a world where either Hernan Crespo or Anderson Lopez will lift the trophy and one of us will be mad.
Hey,
Those are rivals, man.
Yeah,
our enemies.
yeah. I mean, I'm just not a fan of Lopez, bro. I'm really not. Dude.
I had a random dude DM me and be like, I'm going to need that Anderson Lopez apology letter when Yokohama lifts the trophy.
Bro,
I was like, damn, bro.
He had in this first leg like 2 opportunities to make a really perfect pass to wide open players, and he got selfish. But that's the thing. That's Lopez's game. He doesn't have vision whatsoever. I'm not criticizing him for that. I'm just saying he has limitations, and those limitations piss me off.
Is Heung-min Son a hero or a villain?
I'm going to say neither, bro. I'm on the side of the Premier League that says Arsenal shouldn't have put themselves in this situation. I'm sorry. There's just, I don't, yes, obviously, Son missed a one-on-one situation. And if you back yourself as an elite goal scorer, you put that away 99% of the time.
And he does.
And he usually does.
He usually does.
But if you're Arsenal trying to villainize him, blame yourself. You shouldn't be in this situation. And what if you're Manchester City blaming or praising Son? I mean, you'd hope to say that you would have won the game even if he had scored. See what I'm trying to say here?
I guess, but there is a very real aspect to this where Stefan Ortega put in a fucking masterclass coming off the bench and putting on incredible saves. My God.
Yeah.
The reaction it created out of Pep Guardiola was one I've never seen before. now a very popular meme going all across the internet with him just losing his mind on the fucking sidelines.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing to see.
Dude.
But that's what caused it, was this clear on-goal Heung-min Son chance that could have tied the game and then made it questionable as to who would have won afterwards. Therefore, Arsenal potentially getting the lead in the title race.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked the question. Is he a hero? Is he a villain? Depends on who you ask.
Absolutely, but I'm still going to mainly just praise Ortega, as you kind of just did. I mean, he immediately comes on and makes a really good ricochet save. Like, immediately. He had 1 minute to really feel himself out. And I was like, okay, damn, like, that was important, because he had just come onto the pitch. Ederson, really frustrated they had to get off, and I understand it. But, dude, Pep's emotion was brilliant to watch on the sideline. I haven't seen him like that in a while, bro. Oh, my God. But, I mean, that's what was at stake. Manchester City win this game, and you'd think they now win the Premier League.
Yes, with the two remaining fixtures now between both these sides, Arsenal is facing off against Everton, and Manchester City is facing off against West Ham, who I believe is in like 9th or 8th place. They do have the tougher matchup on paper.
They do.
But is it the tougher matchup in reality, knowing that Everton tends to step up in moments like this, man? They were the team that took Liverpool out of the title race just a couple of weeks ago by defeating them at home.
True.
Both games will be at home for Arsenal and Manchester City, so they have that advantage as well. Is this as simple as both teams are winning and thus Manchester City is winning another trophy, or is there going to be some chaos or some drama on the final day, man?
I just saw a TikTok of the reliving of Manchester City's first title win a decade ago, where the famous Aguero, where United had momentarily secured it, but then 2 stoppage time goals, Manchester City completely flip it. I'm not saying that happens, but my goodness, it'd be crazy if it was the reverse, where Manchester City experienced what they did to United over a decade ago. That would be ridiculous. Yeah. But my money is that doesn't happen, right? My money is that Manchester City, one of the best Premier League teams of all time, secure that legacy as such and lift their 4th straight Premier League title.
Yeah, dude. I think it's kind of cool how in the Premier League, Arsenal ends up having to rely on 2 London sides to pull a result so that they can ultimately win a fucking championship. That's crazy. Like, these are your rivals, and now you're going to be rooting for them. There were Arsenal fans rooting for Tottenham just a couple days ago. Blasphemy considered in some countries. And I can understand, bro, because you would never think that. But I love that that's what the Premier League creates, and football in general creates those type of scenes, those type of moments. West Ham does have the capabilities to potentially surprise, potentially get a draw, maybe even a victory away from home against Manchester City. But I just think these matchups are going to be incredible to watch. I don't know if they'll be as dramatic as what it was 10 years ago or even a couple years ago when Liverpool was vying for the title and Aston Villa went up 2-0 on Manchester City and then Man City came back. I don't know if we'll get that. But fingers crossed we do, man, because I'm here for the drama.
Yeah, that'd be dope. But to go back to that point of Arsenal relying on London clubs to do it, the atmosphere in the Tottenham Stadium against City was really weird, man. It was, at times, dead silence. And I think it was because there was a weird energy for the Tottenham fans, because it's like, all right, if we beat City, then that means our rivals Arsenal have a really good chance to lift the trophy. And then if City beat us, okay,
maybe we let Champions League.
Right. Yeah. And then we let City just lift another trophy in our stadium, right? So I think if you're Tottenham, I understand why there's just really bizarre energy, because at the end of the day, that game was just a reminder that Tottenham had another weird season, ultimately.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an improvement on what it has been for Tottenham, but the fact that they weren't really in contention for anything going to this match and only City were, I think kind of just reminded that, Tottenham still need to do a lot better.
Well, I was surprised this game ended up being as dramatic as it was, because you look at the results they got against Arsenal and Liverpool, games that people were building up to be potential, big title decider moments. Arsenal completely mollywopped them, and Liverpool got an easy result against them as well. So by the time Manchester City arrives, it didn't feel like they really posed the same threat that we thought they would, that would ultimately decide the title race. So I was surprised that there was a moment where Heung-min Son almost did. Yeah. And for that, I think Tottenham. But for the rest, I'm ultimately kind of pissed at them for not being more of a threat to these other teams.
Yeah, dude, such a good point. And maybe that's why going into this match, I was like, City will probably win this, because of those really poor Tottenham performances that have happened in the last 5 weeks. Yeah, I completely agree. And that had to have been on the mind of the Tottenham fans, knowing that, like, all right, we've been playing like shit this last month. Can we really beat City? It is crazy that Tottenham honestly put in a really good performance. Like, even outside of that Son chance, they probably should have scored a goal.
Yeah.
Like, let's be completely honest. It wasn't just that Son chance. There was other opportunities that Tottenham were able to create against Manchester City, but they didn't put away a single one, unfortunately, for Arsenal.
And when called upon, Kevin De Bruyne steps up once again with a beautiful assist to Erling Haaland, who just walked the ball into the back of the net, essentially wide open. But it was that pass that completely broke the defense. Kevin De Bruyne, one of the most efficient players in world football, showcasing his class once again. That just had to be mentioned.
Absolutely. And when Haaland scored that second goal, the penalty, the way that the City players celebrated, man, my God.
Oh, man.
They were fired up. They're about to go into the stands and fight Tottenham people, man. It was insane. They were so passionate in that moment.
But they had this boss-like fucking juju to them, bro. Like, their nuts were hanging, man. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, the way they were walking, like, we run this fucking league. And I'm not even a City fan. I'm really not, but I can recognize greatness, and that's what that felt like a dynasty at its peak in regards to the Premier League.
100%. And I think that's why I cannot go against them in the final match day. I just can't go against that energy, that type of boss-like mentality. They go away knowing they need a victory, and they still get it done. I think the same thing will happen this time. They'll be at home. They'll lift the Premier League title. It would be crazy if anything else happens, but let's not project anything here. Let's wait till that comes, and we'll be here to see what happens on that final match day, man.
City 2-0 against West Ham. Arsenal 2-1 against Everton. That's how I see this thing happening.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's how I see this happening. And one more thing to note, Aston Villa qualifying for Champions League football. Congratulations to Unai Emery and his side doing an incredible job since he came in and just completely revamped this squad after Steven Gerrard had them in a really weird phase in a post-Jack Grealish world. Unai Emery comes in and revitalizes his team to what is ultimately a very, very impressive season. Congratulations to Aston Villa fans.
Dude, yeah, what an accomplishment for Villa, especially considering the amount of money that they spent over the last two transfer windows to get pretty much an immediate reward from that money spent. I think is immense. Like, that doesn't really happen often, but Villa, they get Emery, they get a couple of players like Pau Torres, Moussa Diaby, and you're still able to keep players like Ollie Watkins, for example, and they all perform at a very high level for you. Like, that's incredible. And it resulted in Champions League position football for them, man. Like, that's huge. All I'll say is I just hope they maintain their overall level of performance that they put on the league, because I'll be honest, I think the performance against Olympiacos a little concerning, bro.
What the hell was that
What
about?
the fuck happened?
That was their
there,
golden
man?
opportunity to win a trophy, be it a Conference League trophy, but still a trophy. You're a Premier League team in that tournament. My rule is if you're a Premier League team in the Conference League, I require you to lift the trophy because of the level of quality in that tournament. The fact they failed in that semifinal and the way they did, conceding that many goals to the Greeks, no offense, should not have happened.
It shouldn't have happened. And low-key, I would say this entire calendar year, so like the last 30% of the season, they've dropped off a little bit. Let's be completely honest, even in the league. So I just hope that they don't drop as far off as Newcastle, because at the end of last season, Newcastle were on top of the world, man. So all I'm hoping is that they maintain a high level and have a really good Champions League appearance, because ultimately Newcastle didn't, but I want Villa to have a really good showing next year.
I wouldn't be that concerned. I think if anything, I would direct that concern to teams like Stade Brestois, who qualified for the Champions League. Shout out to them in Ligue 1.
Hey, shout out.
Getting Champions League football after an incredible season, but those are the type of teams I'd be worried about in UCL, my friend.